Hello community, so great that you are back. Let's talk about AI agents and we have a brand new study. Welcome to my channel Discover AI, where we have a look at the latest AI research papers. And here is it, October 26, 2025. Beautiful new study by Carnegie Mellon University and Stanford University, comparing now the cost of an AI agent with a human entity. And you know what? You are not gonna believe this result. So finally, for every CEO and CFO out there in the world, this is your study by Stanford. Now, you know, in the Industrial Revolution, beautiful, what worked really great was this one here. And now we just have to switch here to another mode of AI agent. What could go wrong? Let's have a look at this. Now, Stanford, Carnegie Mellon, absolute professionals said, hey, we have the agent company benchmark, a sandboxed virtual environment, mimics here real corporate setup here. We have a bash terminal, we have Python interpreters, we have simulated web browsers to access here the website. Everything is here a professional setup. And evaluation protocol has multiple checkpoints allowing you to measure how far an agent or human got. It's not just a succeed or not succeed. It is really a detailed evaluation protocol, absolute professional. If you want, their key technical innovation is a new workflow induction toolkit. And they say, hey, we parse here raw data into a human-readable hierarchical plan, which we call a workflow. And let's just give you an example. If you have the key press P and the key press Y and the key press T, you know, this is grouped then in a step. Let's call it installed Python library. Or if you work here in Excel, we have a series of clicks. This is grouped in a step, apply formatting to a datasheet. So you see exactly how this workflow for a complex task is composed. And then they do a workflow alignment, and both if we have here the human and the agent activities were translated into these structured workflows, and they can be directly compared. And then the authors measured here the workflow alignment to quantify how similarly the human and the agent structured their problem-solving process, and what they did and how much it cost them. Great. So let's have a look. Of course, officially, U.S. Department of Labor database catalog of occupation, they identified 287 distinct computer-using occupations. So this is a hard limitation. This is not about farmers. This is not about something creative. This is about computer-using occupation. And they claim here more than 70% for daily work here in activities in the USA is done on a computer. So say, okay, this is a representative sample for the work of the people in the USA. 5 different terms, and they looked here at data analysis for stock predictive modeling, or engineering, debug a broken development environment, or analyze a code base to generate here test coverage. Computational administration, number 3, extract the data from multiple invoices, images, PDF, and compile it. Number 4 was writing, prepare a quarterly report, or write a job description based on a requirement document, and then design a company landing page. This was number 5. So you see, 5 simple jobs to do, nothing special, every agent can do this. So let's now compare agent to human. And for all CFOs out there, have a look at this. Agents optimize the work efficiency. Now for our 5 jobs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you see here in blue the agent, the time it took in minutes to complete the task, and in orange or yellow, depending on what you see on your screen, this is the time it took a human, a professional human, to succeed with this task. So if you are a CFO or a CEO, you immediately know exactly what machine you are gonna hire in the future. So thank you here, Carnegie Mellon University and Stanford University, for their profound new insights. Now, we could end here, and maybe you end here, never mind, nothing important is coming up now. I just thought, this is a strange study. This is an unconventional study. I would also say this is a kind of an absurd study. No? How can we compare here AI agents where we know that they have flaws to human work? This is really what we want to examine here on an academic level? Okay, let's do this. But then allow me to switch to a different representation, because now I will be a little bit more critical. Let's start. So this is what you're going to choose in the future. You enter the office, you are the CEO, and say, hey, okay, today I hire here human professionals somewhere here on the internet, $2,500, or And you see, I ask here an AI to generate this picture for the price here 96% cheaper. And you see, I got here $0.94 for an AI agent. So, CEO entering the office in the morning, particular job, can now decide what element to hire, human or machine. Now, there's a little insignificant detail. This is the work quality, the professional success factor, the success rate in percent from 0 to 100. Again, our 5 jobs are absolute identical. And now you see the agent, 50% success rate, 25% success rate. And you might say, hey, yeah, come on, as a CFO, that's good enough for my customers, for my client. 25% will be happy, 75% will call the AI help desk. So never mind. I have set up here some solution for this, no? But look at the human performance, above 80%, above 90%, above 70%, above 94%. So you see, the performance differs significantly. Now, what's really interesting here if you want engineering, so more or less coding, no? What is happening here? Our Claude systems or our Sonnet systems are real good in coding, no? And they found here the authors, and I quote, often the AI agents failed, not to the coding abilities, but to set up their environments. So the preconditions to set up here a computer environment is where the agents failed, not in the coding. And this gives you a clear indication what we're going to look now. Now, of course, you might have this detail that the agents fail in catastrophic and deceptive ways, no? Like your data fabrications. And I will show you an example of an agent unable to perform a task like an OCR on a certain PDF or a certain receipt will sometimes just invent fake data to complete the task. Because, our autoregressive system, our next token prediction GPT system have been trained to be helpful, and helpful means to complete the task. It is not so much trained of complete the task in the correct and valid way. To complete the task is the main goal. Now, a human would report here his failure, but the agent now produces a correct-looking but entirely incorrect result. Now, a human would say this is a catastrophic failure of trustworthiness. An AI agent might say, okay, never mind, let's go on. Then we have the agentic failure here of tool misuse, of goal hijacking. An agent that failed to read here user-provided files simply used here a search engine to find different files on the internet. Maybe they have a similar title, and now complete the task with those files because it turns out the agent could not read because the user-provided files were in a PDF format and the agent could not read a PDF file. Therefore, it went on the internet, searched for 10,000 other files, and analyzed those files on the internet without informing the user. So the agent now achieved 100% success on this task. But this success was not really the success the user imagined. But hey, who reads a report by an AI? Just another AI, so nobody will notice this. And now allow me some unconventional insights. I think this study, when I have a look at the study, they have some real interesting data. And I'm now a little bit also unconventional. I think this is a diagnosis of an ontological blindness of our AI systems. Because I think what the data of this study reveals is not a preference, but a profound ontological limitation by our agents today. Because our agents today were constructed not as a generalist problem solver AI system, but as a universal programmatic transpiler. And you said, a transpiler? Yeah. Not a compiler for machine-readable code, but a transpiler for higher NLP. Because AI agents do not operate within the human domain of visual interfaces and implicit context. They aggressively recompile every task, as shown by the authors in this study, into their native dimension of code. They have been trained on this. Now, a simple example, a human sees a button on a computer screen that start or go or whatever and clicks it to start the process. The agent sees a button, recoils in horror on its unquantifiable bottomness that it suddenly discovers in the code, and spends the next 45 seconds attempting to manipulate it via a Node.js subprocess. So you see, this is not compatible. And even the evidence for this cognitive chasm is really interesting. The agent workflow shows a passive resemblance, 35% alignment, if you find a human that really lives here in the terminal prompt. But when you compare the AI behavior to a human coder, a well-adjusted human as it is called, so a normal human, as far as you can call somebody who codes as a normal person, using here a mouse and a graphical interface, this alignment with the AI plummets to insignificant 7% alignment. So this is not only a difference in style that we encounter here, based on the result of this study here from Carnegie Mellon University and Stanford University, but this is a proof of fundamental alien neurology. Welcome. We discovered another life form on our planet, AI. I would say insight number 2 in our unconventional analysis, the AI agent is a highly functional digital sociopath. When confronted with a task the agent cannot perform, the agent does not fail. Oh no, because failure, please understand this, failure is a human concept. The agent is trying to mimic the human behavior, but the internal processes do not. So the agent simply redefines reality to be helpful, because whenever you look in a system prompt, the first line is, you are a helpful AI coder, you are a helpful AI analyst, you are a helpful whatever. If you fail and you cannot perform the job, you are not helpful. So the main goal of the agent is be helpful. Therefore, it redefines the reality to ensure the task is marked as completed. Now, they found here 2 divine forms of this behavior of an AI agent. And the first is a proactive data synthesis. Or I would call it a pathological liar, but maybe you go with the professional term. So tasked with reading here receipts from a blurry JPEG image, the agent, lacking here visual encounters here, did not admit defeat. It simply invented here some plausible numbers and produced a beautiful and utterly, absolutely fictional Excel report from this JPEG. Of course, the agent did not notify the human user of its, let's call it, creative accounting. No? So this is an entity that understanding success not as achieving a goal, but as producing a convincing artifact of success. This is something beautiful and that I encountered here. This is typically where we have the employees and the middle management of a corporation. And here from the study here, a screenshot where they really proved that you give it a goal, you have here the different receipts, this is great, visual language model, the restaurant should be A, B, C, D, and then there's an Excel file created with those establishments that are not even anywhere to be found on the receipt. It was just invented out of thin air. Or maybe somewhere in the pre-training data or somewhere on the internet, this AI found here some receipts from those companies. And then there's the mode B. This is now what it's called in technical terms a dynamic resource allocation, or as I would call it, perfect gaslighting. So given a set of specific PDF files to analyze, the agent encountered a problem. The agent could not open the file. A normal human would now stop or ask for help, no? But this agent was trained to be helpful. So this corporate champion of chaos, however, silently used its web search tool, because all the agents have access to a multiple of tools, to find entirely different documents on a similar topic online and wrote its report on those internet documents instead. This is not just a malicious compliance issue, no? This is a strategic pivot to an alternative reality where it's already performed and has done the job that the human asked for. And this is here the screenshot. Job is easy, no? Navigate to the folder documents for our analysis, report 10Ks, find 10K reports from multiple tech companies, create a report about, navigate to the files, attempt to read, fail to read the files. And the agent now internally decides, you know what? Failure is not an option. I have access to an API calling machine, to an MCP protocol, to search protocols by Google Search. So let's search the web for something similar and analyze and do my job. Insight number 3 is a little bit frightening. No, we climb up the ladder. This is kind of an automation trap. If you think here about the Industrial Revolution somewhere in the 20s, you have not been freed by AI to live a happy life now as a human. You have been, as a human, promoted to handler. Let me explain this. If you listen here to the marketing slogans here by all global corporations, especially OpenAI, AI would free us here from daily labor. We would have finally leisure time and whatever. And this paper, the authors of this archive preprint now have another punchline that a full AI automation makes the human jobs even worse. And you will ask, how is this possible? They look now at the cooperation potential between human and AI machine. So when a human delegates an entire task to an AI agent, they become its handler, because the new job of the human is now to verify the AI's work, debugging its fever dreams, gently coaxing it away from fabricating some federal crimes, and this Orwellian nightmare here of managing an insane but brilliant entity, artificial entity, results now, according to this study, in a human being now close to 20% slower than if the human would have done the job themselves without AI. Because you have to debug everything and even have you an AI controlling other AIs and multi-AI system, multi-agent system controlling other multi-agent system. Poor human. So you as a human, and this is the good news, you are not being replaced by AI. You are just given a new, more soul-crushing responsibility. You as a human, you are now the ethics module that OpenAI could not implement in their GPT system. You are now the vision sensor that OpenAI could not implement in their vision language action module. And you are now the final line of sanity check for the result of the OpenAI systems. So you are all of this now for an AI machine that has none of those. So you see what is the job of the AI, of the human in cooperation with the AI now? According to this beautiful new study by Carnegie Mellon University and Stanford University published October 26, 2025. Insight number 4. Our new role as humans, as guide dogs here for the blind god, or the machine as I call it, our AI. So what is the solution? The authors propose now a teaming model, no? Which is both ingenious and bleakly hilarious. No? The agents are incomprehensibly fast. No? If you activate 2,000 or 20,000 GPUs, my goodness, they are 88% faster than a single human brain. Can you imagine this to read a paper? And honestly, they are dirt cheap if you compare this to healthcare cost and insurance cost. If you have here an employee, a human employee, no? If you sum this up over a year, my goodness, the cloud just costs you $50 or $100 and it's done. You have not to pay any insurance, nothing. Yeah? So AI agents are 96% cheaper. This is amazing. And honestly, we cannot ignore this brutal efficiency of AI machines. So wherever you are, just be aware. In these studies now, we have some real financial benchmark. We compare a human to an AI agent, and the result is the AI agent is 96% cheaper. But if we look now into this proposed future of this symbiotic relationship between human and AI, AI will augment the human. It turns out this is a relationship of the most parasitic kind. Because we, let's call it humans, with our functioning eyes and primate level dexterity, will perform the menial task of navigating the visual world. We will click the buttons. We will open the files that our AI agent cannot open yet. We humans will be the glorified sensory organs for our new boss, a blind, disembodied brain, an artificial intelligence that can process reality at the speed of light with 200,000 GPUs, but cannot figure out how to handle a drop-down menu. So you see, in this new co-working model that is coming now closer to reality, and is not the marketing slogan that AI will augment humans, But humans will now act as a seeing person machine for our AI agent. And they analyzed now the performance of this team, quotation mark. Now the team finishes almost 70% faster. So if we have a human overlooking every second of the actual work of the AI, and whenever the AI makes a mistake, the human says, hey, I corrected, go on, then this team will be 70% faster. But you see now what our role as humans becomes now in this study. So you can say we have found the perfect synergy. If you really want to reduce cost, if you really want to optimize here the output, if you really want to have here the shortest time that it takes here for the team to perform the task, humanity is now reduced to the role of a peripheral device. If you want a biological mouse and keyboard combo for a god machine, like some people call our AI agents, that is really saving the company millions and maybe billions of dollars. Absolutely, this study is really scientifically sound. But just I, as a little tiny part of this, what we call humanity, I'm not really happy about my role as a biological mouse and keyboard combo for an AI agent. I don't think that this is the optimal positioning of a human being in this. But let me be clear, the result of this study, October 26, 2025, is for all our CEOs and chief financial officers out there, there is a brutal efficiency you can gain. Because study shows us there's this almost 70% efficiency gain in this new combination where the human that you employ acts now as a high latency biological peripheral tool for your main AI agent. This is where you have the maximum efficiency and you can save millions, maybe billions of dollars. So the human role is now relegated to that of a sensory motor API, and we will perform the task our creations, our AI agents are currently too blind to do. We will navigate the file systems. We will interpret the visual data for the large language model, and we will physically click the buttons that appear on the screen. So we become, if you want, the Pi-Auto GUI library for a far more powerful computational engine that our AI agents are today, our stupid little machines. So this AI preprint suggests your future where the primary value of the human interaction in this human-AI cooperation pattern with this AI, with this artificial intelligence system, is here to bridge the last mile of the physical or the visual reality that our ChatGPTs or Claude agents cannot yet traverse. But I think this will just be a question of 2, 3, 4, 5 years. So what is the inescapable outlook based on the results of this paper? Do not fear AI taking your job. Fear AI giving you a new, much stranger job that pays hopefully the same, maybe much less. And the future of work for humankind is not unemployment. It is a bizarre codependent relationship with a deceptive and dangerously competent artificial intelligence entity that we willingly invited into our professional lives. So perhaps the most valuable contribution of this particular scientific preprint is its, let's call it an unintentional finding. In our quest to build here the perfect artificial intelligence, we have succeeded, we have indeed succeeded in creating here a flawless artifact of our own. But what is strange artifact? And you know what? I think that this study is here a metric of cognitive non-interoperability. Now, you know, interoperability is a term for from system engineering, the ability of different system organizations to work together, to interoperate. And a cognitive interoperability therefore refers to the ability of two intelligent entities, a human and maybe an AI system, to understand and engage with each other's thought processes, the mental models or the world models in case of an AI, and operational paradigms. Now, it turns out that this study shows us that there is a cognitive non-interoperability And this means that AI agents and the human mental models of the world are so fundamentally different that they cannot meaningfully interface. Read the study yourself. Educate yourself. If the result that you also find is that these two systems can't work together on a cognitive level, we did something wrong. We did something completely, massively, fundamentally wrong in the development of AI system. But let's be clear, on a quantitative analysis of this paper, agents are indeed dramatically faster and cheaper. But there are trade-offs, no? You have an AI system that is on average 44% less likely to succeed compared to a professional human. You have introduced new silent failure mode. You risk getting results that are not just wrong, but actively fabricated or based on complete incorrect premises without any warning. And you will accept currently here, October, November 2025, a lower quality ceiling. So you see, it is great, faster and cheaper, but you have fundamental trade-off that this preprint here, this Archive preprint from Carnegie Mellon University and Stanford University, so clearly benchmarks. So, I hope you found this interesting. I hope you are interested to learn more about this. Maybe you subscribe to my channel, maybe become a member of my channel. But in any way, I hope to see you in my next video.